what it would take, no, don't do that. I jumped ahead of myself. Why I haven't felt it possible to complete that issue so far. That's what I want you to write down in column number 2. Why have I not felt it possible to complete that issue so far? What stopped me for each of those 3 issues? Just identify why is this still an incompletion in my life? Why don't I just wrap this up and get it over with? Am I afraid to bring it up with that person? Am I afraid of what's going to happen with me? Am I still so angry about it that I can't do it in a civil way? Is my resentment so furious that I'm unable to deal with this appropriately? Or am I afraid of them and what they might think? What is it that stops me? Okay, write those down. Hit the pause button, because this will take you 8 or 10 minutes, and we'll come back right after that. Good work. Now, let's go to the 3rd column. Here is what I want you to do. Now, I jumped ahead of myself before. This is where I want you to put in the 3rd column what it would take for me to come to completion about this item right now. Okay, here's the item, whatever the incompletion is. Column 2, why I haven't felt the ability to complete that until now. And then column number 3, what it would take for me to complete that. What would it take for me to come to completion now? And then beneath that, in a little parenthetical comment, in parentheses beneath that, when I intend to do that. See what it would take and when I intend to do that. Put that in parentheses. Finish that now and put the machine on pause. Finish that, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this, okay? All right. Okay, so now we understand the places where you feel incomplete, at least 3 of them, and why you have not completed that until now, and what it would take to complete it, and when you intend to do that. Now, I would invite you to make this list for all of the incompletions in your life. We only asked you to do it for 3 items, but I'm going to suggest that you do it for every item you can think of. If I did this, I would have, again, I'd have a list of really, truly 25 or 30 things. I'm an old guy, and I probably have one of those things on the average every 2 years. So since I'm way past 60, I probably have 25 or 30 of those little items that I would be hanging out with. Now, I have done this work, so I'm not really hanging out with that anymore. But I invite you to do this work. Let yourself have this process. And what you may want to do is knock off or check off as many of those as you can in the next 2 months. That is, take a look at that 3rd column, what it would take, yes, for me to feel complete about this. And then do that. Do whatever it would take. Maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a letter, maybe it's a personal face-to-face visit. It could be as simple as an email. Some of those things are really quite easy to clean up. But give yourself permission to come to completion. Now let me tell you why this is important, okay? I asked God for the definition of enlightenment once in my conversations with God. I said, what is enlightenment? God said, in a word, completion. Whoa, I never heard it put quite like that. I never heard it put quite like that. I said, what does that mean? What do you mean completion? And she said, well, I don't mean just completion like we're talking about here, completing all of your unfinished business. That's part of it. But I mean completion with the journey, the whole journey, being complete with the assignment of the soul. Could I put it that way? Being complete. And part of being complete with the assignment of the soul in this particular lifetime is being complete in the sense we're talking about right here, in this current completion exercise. So I really, really, really hope that you will have done this work, not that you're just watching the tape all the way through, not putting it on pause, not doing the work. That won't get you anywhere. That's no fair. For this course to be effective in your life, you need to do the processes, do the procedures. And then I think you'll find that you've made some real movement, some real progress in your life. And I'll bring that up again because I want to tell you, I've done this work. I've come to completion with the people in my life, just as I did with my father. And I've done it with other people as well. Sat down with them. Oh, and by the way, one last thing. This just came up for me. Sat down with them and talked about not just where they may have not done what I wanted them to do, or where I feel incomplete because they didn't somehow finish something. But as I mentioned a bit earlier, also I've sat down with people and talked about where I don't feel that I completed what I intended or promised to do. Not the least of which is a couple of marriages where I promised to be with them, come hell or high water, through thick and thin, and then didn't do that. Not the highest moments in my life, not bragging about that. But I noticed that at least I've gone to those people and I've said to them, hey, look, I see that I did this. That doesn't make it any better. Doesn't make it go away. But you at least need to know that I see that I did this and that I regret it and I'm sorry and I, gosh knows, didn't mean to hurt you deliberately. None of us ever want to deliberately hurt anybody, really. I'm convinced of that. But I did that. And I need to feel complete about that, at least to the degree that I acknowledge what happened there and what it did to you and meant to you, and that I'm sorry. And I've discovered that people are amazingly willing to forgive, even huge stuff. They're amazingly willing to forgive. They're at least as willing to forgive me as I am willing to forgive those who've transgressed in my life. Or as the Catholics put it in their particular version of the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So that's what completion is all about. Now the next teaching point here is identifying unmet life goals. Nothing contributes to the feeling of incompletion more, from my experience, in my personal experience, than unmet life goals. Now, one of the things, this is going to surprise you perhaps, maybe it won't, but I suspect that it might. One of the things that stops people from meeting their life goals is they haven't set any, or they don't know what they are. Or they maybe set some 20 years ago or a long time ago, but they've kind of given up on them and they haven't set goals recently. And if you ask them what their unmet goals are, they would come up with stuff from when they were 15 or 25 or, very, very young person, and that they've not only given up on, but almost can't identify anymore in the specific sense. So I want to help you now with a little process that will assist you in identifying your unmet goals, because you can't meet the goals of your life until you know what they are or what they were, okay? So here we go again. I'm going to ask you to take out your notebook. And I'm going to ask you to think back now, think back in time to the earliest goals that you can remember. And you don't have to stop the program at this point. You don't have to put this on pause. You can do this while we're talking here. While I'm rambling on, blah, 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 I want you to take the time, at the same time that I'm talking to you, just to think right now, real fast, the first three that come to your mind. 3 goals that you once set in your life that you have not met, unmet goals. Even if it's a goal when you were like 8 or 9 or 10. I had a goal when I was 9 or 10 years old that I was going to be a sportscaster on the radio. I wanted to be like Earl Gillespie, the voice of the Milwaukee Braves. And I never got there. It's an unmet goal. I never got to do, I got close. I got to do color telecasting or color commentary on football games on the radio. But I never got to do the actual play-by-play. You know, I never got to do that. And I made that goal when I was like 9 or 10 years old. I was just something as a child that I wanted to do. You know what those things are as well. So make a list of those 3. I'm going to put down childhood dreams. We'll call them childhood dreams. And see what they are. And now you've got them down on your piece of paper. Have I talked long enough? You got them down? Okay, now in the next column, this is another one of those multi-column processes, Neil's 3-column or 4-column process. This is going to be a 4-column process. In column number 2, I want you to write down adult goals, my earliest adult goals that I can think of. You know, when you were 20 or 25 or even 30, which for me is still early in my life because I'm now almost 70. So think of the early goals that you've had. Think if you could, see if you can think of 2 or 3 goals from when you were a young adult, yeah? And write those down in column number 2. I'll give you some time with that. I'll just read my piece of paper here, see where I'm going to go next, and you write down 3 goals from your early adult life. Hurry up. Don't waste too much time here because we're all waiting. Okay, good. Now, in column number 3, I'd like you to write down with regard to column number 1, draw like a line over the top of column number 2. In column number 3, what are the chances that you could complete, that you could meet those goals, those childhood dreams, in some form or another? See, because childhood dreams sometimes were about specific doingness experiences. You know, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be, as in my case, a sportscaster on the radio. But I'm going to invite you now to identify, rather than the specific doing this function, that is what my body is specifically up to, I'm going to invite you to take a look at what kind of emotion, what kind of feeling, see, what kind of overall experience I anticipated that doing that thing would bring me to, would allow me to have. So maybe the experience is, to give you an example of what I'm talking about, maybe the experience is creativity. I would feel incredibly creative. Or maybe the experience is getting in touch with my courage and my bravery. You know, I guess if I wanted to be a fireman or a rescue squad, operator or technician, one of those EMTs, emergency medical technicians, it might be about bravery or courage or the feeling that I get if I were to actually save someone's life. Can you imagine that? So or in my case, a sportscaster, gee, what would the feeling be? What would the internal experience be of being a sportscaster? I think sharing the excitement of a life event with another. That would be how I would describe that experience. Wow, out of the park, it's a home run, it's gone, that kind of a thing, right? Where you listen to it, whoa, yes. So it's the ability to share the excitement of life with another. Well, I can't do that in sportscasting, because my days of being a sportscaster, the possibility of that are over.